Hi guys, Dr. Mitchell again. This time we're going to be looking at using void methods that have parameters this time. And we'll also look at how we can overload methods to perform similar tasks and explore the benefits of overloading. So what are we learning today? We're going to learn how a method signature for a method with parameters has the method name and a list of parameter types. We're going to look at how whenever we try to call those methods, the values that are provided need to correspond with the signature, and how we use overloading to write multiple methods with the same name but a different signature. So let's start by looking at a calculator program. We can write methods to accept different parameters so that it can use that information to complete its task. So for this particular example, I have a method, calcAverage, that's going to accept two integers or whole numbers to calculate, one integer and one double, so one whole number and one decimal number, so that way I can calculate the average of these two numbers. So remember that that first line where the method name is referred to as the method signature. In this case, my method signature is going to have the method name and the ordered list of parameter types. So when I try to use this method, I have to make sure that I am calling it with the same type of data in the same order. So in this particular example, I have an int num1 and then a double num2. Then the values that are passed to the method, so in this case I have new average.calcAverage and then 20, 15.4, they have to match the order and the type in the method signature. So 20 has to be an int, which luckily for me it is, and then the 15.4, the second parameter that's passed, has to match what was in the signature, which is a double. So luckily 15.4 is also a double, so I don't have any errors and the program's able to do what it needs to do. So if I try manipulating or changing a grade printer program, for example, to accept that information, in this case I have a public void print info method that is going to take a string name and a double grade. So when I call that method, using my program, using the main method, it's got to also provide a string for the first parameter and a double for the second parameter. So luckily for me, it does. So that first method or first parameter that's passed is going to be Jamila, which is a string, so we're good there. And then for the grade, it's going to receive the value 82.4, which is a double, so that way it can do what it needs to do to print out that information. I can also write multiple versions of the methods that I define, which is called overloading. So they have the same name but different parameters. So going back to my calculator example, for example, I had a calcAverage that calculated the average of two numbers. But what if I wanted to calculate the average for three numbers? I can write two versions of that method with different parameters for each one, so that way I can do that kind of task. So in the method call, when I do new average.calcAverage and pass the values of 20 and 15.4, the compiler is then going to look for which method signature matches how I'm calling this method. So in this case, it'll match it to the first method call because I have an int for the first value and a double for the second one. My second call matches up to my second signature that has an int for the first value, an int for the second value, and a double for the third. So then the program is able to do what it needs to do after it has matched that signature. It will use that method to calculate my average. So what do we take away from this? We see how a method signature for a method that has parameters is going to contain the method name as well as the ordered list of parameter types. We see that the values in the parameter list when we call the method need to correspond to the order and the type in the method signature. And we've also seen how we can overload methods with the same name, using the same name, but different signatures, so we can do similar tasks with different types of information. Thanks. I will see you guys again soon.